I'm back on Tropico 6 and I'm going to continue being the worst dictator possible on my island nation, except this time we'll be navigating our way through the Cold Wars. In part 1, we started off by forcing our population to swim across a channel of water or die trying, provided zero housing but plenty of plantations, which led to us needing a strong military to fend off our own citizens turned rebels, while dealing with natural disasters in the process. Our biggest challenge might have been the fact that people are allowed to leave my island and we have had to rely on human smuggling to keep our economy afloat, but now we can forcibly stop any of our slaves from leaving, so finally I'll get a fair shot of getting rich off the sweat and broken backs of my property. I mean people. I just hit play and we're already under attack by guerrillas. But apparently this isn't any normal act of rebellion, this is a rebel uprising. And my assistant wasn't kidding, this is by far the most people I've seen attack at once. There's about 25 of them in this group alone. Alright, hot start, we're going to war, but we've prepared for this. I have tanks and soldiers all over the place, but I find it hard to believe that their bullets were able to destroy this piece of machinery. Don't even worry though, it's next tank up mentality, and even if they manage to take this one down, I've got about 5 more on the way. We're gonna win this battle and have these honorary little Harriet Tubman sit right back down and get back to work. Okay, first things first, we need more people living on this island. People keep dying and leaving, and I can't have both of those things going on. So with my new best country on earth policy, they can die here, but they aren't leaving. And of course, for media independence, we're gonna make that state-controlled media. So to progress to modern times, we need to choose and complete one of these 3 goals. We could borrow a major international landmark, join the nuclear club, or establish a tropical paradise for tourists. Well, we all know if I allow tourists to visit, I'm not going to let them leave. Stealing is evil, but that's nothing compared to having nuclear capabilities. So that's going to be our end goal for this era. Now, that's not going to happen unless we have a ton of money on hand, and our economy isn't doing too great right now. We're only making about 15 to 25K per trip, but if we have enough slaves, anything is possible. And that's what my favorite smugglers are working on. In the meantime, though, we might be able to help the population decline with some small changes, like maybe providing enough food for my citizens. Might be a good place to start, considering almost 80% of my decline is from starvation. So for now, we're going to do a rare act of kindness here and provide them with another food source besides pig. We'll be rounding out their diet with a coconut harvester. And allies aren't as important as they were in the World War era, but we're still going to invite the Eastern Bloc, aka the USSR, over to the embassy. This is meant to help build a partnership with this bloc, but we have enough tanks that we don't have to worry about that. So we're actually going to use this to periodically collect $20,000 in taxes whenever it's available. And for an economic boost to my country, we're no longer going to sell any gold. We'll instead be exclusively turning that gold into jewelry to sell for a larger profit. That's right, the blood diamond method is yet to be patched. We have a large shipment of over 1,000 jewelry being sent to the dock right now, and that alone is going to be worth about 20K. The starvation rates are getting near where I'd like them, but I think it would be wise to take a sugar plantation and change its resource into pineapple for the time being, but we'll make up for that loss of sugar by just ordering some extra sugar from what I presume to be the pirates. This is why we can't have nice things without a military base next door. Last time I was on here, the volcano took out my main military base on the volcano, which left some important buildings such as the gold mine defenseless to attacks. So of course, my rebels/terrorists like to stop by and set literal bombs. So we're gonna have to pay a hefty bill and get our volcano tank squad back on its feet. Another issue with our productivity of the mines is that they like to protest by stepping outside and yelling at the guard towers. They're complaining about fun happiness, a problem I don't plan to ever fix. We had a few more hurdles in our way between a few more rebel attacks that left our prison on fire. But honestly, if that's the building they want to attack, that's fine by me. The only people that are in there are the people that get on my nerves. Oh, and because I failed to complete a capitalist's ultimatum, we're now in a financial crisis. That'll take a year to blow over, so now's not a great time to spend money. So instead, we're going to focus on some politics. We have 6 different factions. The militarists couldn't be any happier with me. My next 2 highest approval ratings are the communists and the industrialist. But if there's anything that's going to be consistent on this island, it's going to be my military strength. So we're going to use our radio stations and newspapers to propagandize people into becoming militarist followers. But for some good news, our population decline is looking really good. We only lost 7 people this year to starvation. And we're actually now losing more people to becoming guerrillas and my lack of food and healthcare. That's what I call a problem solved. We have a break in the action, we have some money in the bank, and we're going to place our first car factory on this new side of town. Cars are the most valuable export in the game. They take steel and rubber to make them. I don't have either of those resources being farmed, but we make plenty of rum, which is just going to allow us to import those goods and save our energy. And for some more expansion, I'm going to use the original island I had all my people abandoned and move my pig ranch over there for its more suitable land. This is going to kill a few birds with one stone. First of all, the pigs can eat up the dead bodies of the people who weren't good enough swimmers to make it to the new island. It'll provide more food for my people, and it's going to clear up some limited space near the gold mines for yet another jewelry workshop. But hopefully that place has a strong security system because its next door military base isn't doing so hot. This guy was literally inside the military base on the clock, and yet he still allowed the guerrillas to successfully plant a bomb on the place. We'll work on taking out that guy and his lineage, but because of his poor work, my whole military had to come over here and deal with these terrorists, which really could screw us because over on the mainland, we're having a full-on rebel uprising again. Looks like we have 3 main groups here. One is splitting off, but those 2 are looking tough to beat with their numbers combined. I was hoping this one guy was going to sacrifice his life for Pakistan, but I think he's going to get his tank. All right, most of my forces are still making their way back here, but we have 1 tank ready, and he's going to make a smart move here and take out the smaller group first. They broke up again, and this isolated group is starting to be defeated by starvation and poor healthcare, which will leave the main group of about 20 rebels fighting it out in the street with my tanks. Yes, that is plural. 3 tanks showed up and took care of business. Whether or not they check their crossfire in this large homeless encampment is not my concern. The dictatorship remains undefeated. That was some strong defense, but I don't see that rebel problem getting any easier, so we need to keep making more money so we can keep expanding our military. For starters, we're going to create yet another gold mine town on the volcano, and we're starting to expand pretty far away from the mainland, so I'm going to invest in a firefighting helicopter for 15 grand. After some more saving, we're going to give this army base closest to the palace some reactive armor upgrades to their tanks, and with the addition of exporting cars, we're starting to make some real fuck you money. So our own people are going to have to stay in line or die trying to rebel, because I'm pretty sure all of my problems here can be solved with money. I even have enough money in my Swiss bank account that I can simply just buy 12 people at a time for $500 each. These are college-educated immigrants, and oh my, I wish the game would allow me to buy uneducated ones at a discount. We're up to over 400 people, and I'm just continuing to dump money into upgrading my military, and we'll be needing it because I'm enforcing a new law around here. Protests and assemblies are now illegal, which will increase the chance of citizens becoming rebels by 15%. And yeah, that's working all right. We're getting attacked every day now, but we're well prepared to deal with it. It's become such a normal part of everyday life that even the women just walk past these war zones and continue with their daily duties. Yeah, they get a bomb set off here and there, but my firefighting helicopters can put that out from anywhere on the island. You know what? I think we have enough money we can start to do some reorganizing, or in other words, segregation. This new island where I put the ranch doesn't have fertile enough land to put plantations on, so I think we'll just make this a livable side of town and place all of our nice things over here, while the mainland reaches its full potential with plantations, factories, and homeless shacks. I don't know how it took me so long to notice this, but we can now place an aircraft carrier. It's going to be our most expensive purchase yet at over $40,000, but our slaves are hard at work for a reason. I'm going to place this bad boy right in between our main rum distilleries and gold mines. Yeah, it's going to be an eyesore and an ear rape, but maybe it'll teach these people to stop fighting their own government. Oh, she's a beauty. There's jets, military helicopters, and even a fire truck on this thing. I can't wait for someone to try me. And here we go. The rebels are going after my bank. Go get 'em, Maverick. We're going to need some more power, and oil is going to help us do that. Turns out the new island has some sitting in the ground. It's right next to our bank, which isn't a good look, but that'll have to do. And big surprise, we just found oil, and not even a month later, the Western powers are attacking us. The United States may think they're going to deliver us some freedom, but they're in for a little surprise. We aren't the Middle East. We're more like 1940s Germany. Welcome to D-Day 2.0, bitches. I wish they would just send the whole country at me. Send me a day's notice and I'll have that whole beach lined up with watchtowers and tanks. I'm ready to make a whole generation of young men terrified of fireworks over oil money. Now, besides the United States, I have some new enemies in this era, the environmentalists. They're a bunch of fairies, and we need to fix their way of thinking. So that's why I built an asylum, which will force them to drop their political faction and/or sexuality. We're going to institutionalize their leader and their diehard followers, and just while we're here, I might as well have a few more of them arrested too. And there's no escaping this place. Yeah, they have a beachfront view, but also on their left is a military base, behind them is some barracks, and just to mess with them some more, I placed a casino on their right. but that's what they get for caring about the environment in this economy. The environmentalists love to hit me with ultimatums, but the funny thing is, their threats hold no power. If I tell them to fuck off, they're threatening me with protest. Too bad for them though, that hasn't been allowed for a decade. And just because Sunny Flowers gave me some lip, I'm gonna say fuck these trees. Let's tear those down and replace them with more sugar plantations. To further maximize my profits, I'm gonna keep moving down the volcano for more mining towns. It was pretty difficult to connect this area with roads and these bridges are wonky, but we figured it out. And while we're out here, the island I had to connect to is ideal for rubber plantations. I've been importing a ton of rubber from my vehicle factories, but now we can have our slaves get it to me for free. I was ready to place another aircraft carrier over here for good measure, but sadly that building is unique. Boy, are these rebels lucky. I was about to place those things all over the map. I gotta say, I love dropping bombs on my people. Might need to rename my country to Candyland. The mainland is looking like 1800 Mississippi. And I'm making enough money now I can just continuously keep buying college-educated immigrants. And you can try to run off and become a guerrilla, but my bloodhound MiG-15s are gonna sniff you out and take care of business. I thought I'd give tourism a try on my livable island, but currently we have a tourism rating of 0. But that's nothing money can't fix. Like, come on, we have a casino. Sure, it's on fire, but we'll fix that. And those guys shooting at each other in broad daylight, that's a reenactment for your entertainment. All right, this actually isn't good timing. We have our largest rebel uprising yet in the middle of our tourism attempt. However, this is the first time we've had one with fighter jets, so we'll see how this goes.
Rebellion. However, the palace warns that without a license to play, rebellion is illegal.
Seriously, I think we could take on a second world country at this point. Someone please invade us. Mexico? You want to fuck with us? We want blood. And we're not opposed to fighting dirty. Not only will we shoot people in the back, we'll drop bombs on them as they're running away. It's only a war crime if you lose a war. Maybe that should be our tourism slogan. I'm back at trying to make some money off this thing, but I think God disagrees with the whole idea. Because right after I spend some serious money on it, there's another meteor shower. And the live leaks coming out of this country aren't helping the cause either. Maybe I can cater to the historian buffs by provoking a rebellion in my country. I mean, come on, where else in the world can you get live entertainment like this? I even tried forcing the homeless shacks out of the tourism area's line of sight by placing secured mansions and watchtowers on top of their shacks. Which reminds me, we have almost 1,000 people living here. I need to create some more job opportunities. And what better way could that be done than by spamming some watchtowers on the homeless people? And oh boy, please attack me from this angle. I'm willing to crash my PC if it means some rebels try me over here. You know, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars over here on this segregated island, and I only have a tourist rating of 14 to show for it. So I think we're just going to call it quits on this industry, and if anyone is unfortunate enough to still be on vacation here, they're shit out of luck. I'm destroying your only way out of here and employing you at the closest plantation. Okay, the tourism industry really hasn't been working well, so we're going to try making some money off of convict labor. I built some extra prisons, and crime isn't really a problem on my island given the amount of tanks I have at my disposal. But what is a problem here is environmentalists. So I spent a good 5 minutes just sending out arrest warrants for hundreds of them, and that's a new revenue stream that's going to last us generations. We're now up to 1,400 people living on the island. About a third of those are environmentalists. Of course, those hippies are multiplying like rabbits, but I have a solution for these people. A final solution, you might say. I spent a good $30,000 just killing off these people. Get the fuck off my island, you liberal scumbags. And you know, I should be thanking the rebels for setting the environmentalist prisons on fire. But I don't like losing, and I have oil money now. If one watchtower falls, I'll just play Fortnite on your ass until the reinforcements show up. Well, hopefully these hippies get caught up in the rubble. I'm destroying these prisons. Maybe if I just build the nuclear bomb already, they'll leave this place once and for good. If not, I'm putting them in a prison on the far side of the island and sending that bitch straight at it. All right, we're sending this to uranium enrichment right away, and our plug for uranium is going to be none other than the Dominican Republic. And of course, the hippies are attacking my nuclear program right away. Eat shit and die. On a positive note, the front lawn has never looked better. Since I have forcibly taken away most of the living space on the mainland, just about every plot of land has a homeless family living on it. Yeah, some of them are on fire. I have state-of-the-art fire stations and helicopters, but I only use those on buildings I care about, so we're gonna have to let a few families burn. Also, the attackers are almost exclusively going after my nuclear program now, so we're gonna add a second army base nearby. And while we're waiting for that nuclear bomb to get created, we're gonna spend more of our free time sending out a few more assassinations. A long-term solution we'll be using is excessive propaganda. I was able to afford enough newspapers and radio stations to cover the entire island of people with them, which will be continuously trying to sway people to the militarist faction. And there we have it. In 1998, we have created a nuclear bomb, and we are now able to progress to the modern times. The new world powers will be China, Russia, USA, the Middle East, and the EU. Obviously, Russia and I are BFFs, and we will be until the end of times, which might be brought on by one of our nuclear programs. China is going to be a close second, the Middle East has my interest, and the USA and the EU can have fun trying to invade me. Things got a little out of hand today, but I think we made some positive progress overall. Even with my massive waves of assassinations, we're still thriving with a population of 1,400 people. However, it turns out over 800 of those are rebels or rebel leaders, and those are just the ones we've discovered. I think the toughest battle we might face is our population rising up against us, but I think we have enough tanks and fighter jets to take care of any amount of guerrillas in front of us. And those attacks aren't going to stop anytime soon. Even while I had the game paused, I have 2 rebels dying on my doorstep as we speak. The constant surveillance, segregation, and disparity of wealth aren't going to get any better, so they can come get it whenever they want it. I'll even provoke them into doing so. But that's going to do it for this one. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to click some buttons down below, and I will see you in the next one.